Open any Jewish kid's Bible and you'll see Jonah wearing a kippah in the whale's belly, or King David composing the Psalms wearing a yarmulke. There's only one problem: they wouldn't have worn anything of the sort. In fact, we have this 15th century manuscript from Italy showing Jews in the synagogue, and you'll notice only about half of them are wearing any head covering at all. This was not some radical congregation. This was the norm. Let's go even further back. In the Talmud, we find this cute story about Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. His mother learns from astrologers that he will grow up to become a thief. To avoid this fate, she insists he always wears head covering to instill in him the fear of God. This works at first, until one day, under a date tree, his head covering falls off. He can't help himself. He climbs up the tree and bites off a date with his teeth. This story only makes sense if people didn't normally wear a head covering at the time. Later texts reinforce this understanding. In Masechet Sofrim from the 8th century, we find a debate about if you can recite a Shema without a head covering. Some authorities said it's okay, some said it isn't. Obviously, head covering wasn't that common back then. So how do we get from there to today's practice? During the Middle Ages, Jews who did wear headgear wore whatever was in style where they lived. In Muslim countries, turbans. In Western Europe, berets. Elsewhere, other headgear. It was only in the 14th century when Rabbeinu Yerucham of Provence decreed that Jews must wear head covering in the synagogue. But note, this was only in the synagogue. The real shift came in the 16th century when Rabbi Yosef Karo decreed that Jews should keep their head covered all the time, even outside of the synagogue. But even then, this decree wasn't universally adopted, and some Jews continued to only cover their head during prayer and study. Small round cap we know today evolved even later. In 19th century America, Jews wore what was called Chinese-style skull caps, which were much larger than today's kippot. But gradually they got smaller and smaller until they came to the form we know today. Even the words we use have a surprising history. The word yarmulke is first recorded in Polish as early as the 15th century as yarmulka. We even have a record from 1670 describing pearl and gold-headed yarmulki. The word likely came from medieval Latin almutia, meaning hood, or from Turkish yarmurluk, meaning hooded raincoat. The Hebrew word kippah, originally meaning dome, was only repurposed to refer to a yarmulke in the early 20th century. Started as an individual practice of extreme piety, gradually evolved into one of the most recognizable symbols of Jewish identity. But like many traditions, it's much more recent than most people realize.